Hey everyone, and welcome back to another 7.3 PTR video. Today, we are going to be taking a look at World of Warcraft's latest dungeon, the seat of the Triumvirate. Set in the ruined city of Makari, we, along with Ilaria and her Void mentor, are tasked with taking down Void-consumed ethereals and finding the source of the Void energies that are spread throughout the city. And the first thing that you notice upon entering is that the dungeon layout is quite spread out, allowing for lots of fancy mob skip tactics and ninja pools probably in equal measure. Throughout the dungeon, we're mainly fighting Void-broken ethereals and Voidlings, and they're all pretty much standard stuff. After a short trash clear, we're on to our first boss, a broken called Cyril the Ascended. Now, he has a strong mix of mechanics that I actually think would be quite fun on higher level Mythic Plus difficulties. However, this dungeon was only available on Heroic difficulty, with players being scaled to eye level 830. So, he had a few mechanics that leave a Void pool on the ground. Don't stand in it. The tank needs to pull the boss out of the Void pool as well, lest he'll be empowered. There's also small adds which travel towards the boss. You'll need to kill those because they will also empower him. And he also has a fixate mechanic, kind of like Kargath, but it didn't really hurt on the PTR, but he'll chase a player, so just run away from him when he does. Finally, there's a mechanic where he pulls you into the Void realm. I did not get pulled in, unfortunately, so I can't show you, but if you do get pulled in, you just need to kill the adds. Doing so will stun the boss and increase his damage taken. So, with Cyril dealt with, we move on to a more open and wide part of the dungeon where we have to make our way pretty much through a whole bunch of adds and also destroy 3 Void portals. All the while, we're being harried by groups of Voidlings who just spawn in constantly. So, basically, you just need to keep a decent pace and push your way through the area, because the adds don't really give you a breather. So once this is done, we move on to the next boss, Prish. He uses a few traps and bombs. Avoid them, you'll be fine. There's also what I would say is the main mechanic, which is Ravaging Darkness, basically where his pet will port behind you and channel a series of attacks over 6 seconds. Now, if you don't avoid it, each tick will empower the boss's damage, and he also does something called Umbral Rush, which will cause him to teleport between a few different players and damage all of them. It will also increase his damage, so you just want to avoid the avoidable stuff so that the tank isn't getting pummeled. And that's really most of what we saw. He does also have a bird which can do an AoE and also a 4-second disorient. And with him dead, it is a short hop over to Viceroy Nizar. This guy's a pretty damn cool fight. So he kicks it off by creating a big ring of void around the room. This closes in on you as the fight progresses, giving you less and less space to play with, and a few of his attacks will try to push you into it. One of those is a fear, and the other one is a standard wind attack that will push you outwards, so just use some speed abilities to stay in the playable area. He also spawns in tentacles. These will channel damage, but they will also do a healing taken debuff, so you want to take them out as quickly as you can. He has an energy bar with some mechanics that we didn't see, but as an example, whenever he hits 100 on his bar, he summons in 2 new adds which seem to cast a insta-kill mechanic that does 10 million damage. So overall though, I think it is a pretty damn solid fight, which will get quite good on the higher mythic difficulties. We then enter the seat of the Triumvirate, which is where basically Velen, Archimonde, and Kil'jaeden led Argus before Sargeras arrived. Now, it turns out that as Velen was fleeing, a Naru called Lura stayed behind to cover their retreat. She was wounded and then locked up by Kil'jaeden, and over the thousands of years has turned into a dark Naru. The fight itself is a 2-phase fight that was not too hard on Heroic, but I could see it getting rather tricky on the harder difficulties. In Phase 1, she summons in portals, and each portal comes with a greater Rift Warden, so players need to kill the Rift Wardens. While the portals are open, Lura will channel damage just outwards, so you want to kill the portals. When you kill the portal void guys, Ilaria uses their power to destroy the portal and interrupt Lura's channel, which opens up a period of 200% extra damage for 12 seconds. Once that 12 seconds is over, the second wave of portals is spawned in, and after that there is then after the burn phase, after the second portals, she gains new abilities and starts continually channeling out damage to everyone. So she just has a nuke in the tank, some AoE. On Mythic, she does another AoE ability, which has a knockback thing. So on the harder difficulty levels, you'll want to make a lot of headway in the 200% damage windows so that you're spending as little time in her final phase as is possible, because that's where she does do quite a lot of damage. And that's it for the dungeon. It was, I think, a pretty damn solid dungeon overall, though I'm a little bit disappointed It's just reusing an outdoor area which already exists that you quest in. I think that would have been fine if there was 2 dungeons in the patch, but I actually am left wanting a little bit more dungeon content, to be honest. I would actually support more asset reuse if it meant we could have TBC and Wrath-styled winged dungeons, but that's probably a discussion for another day. Overall, though, it's quite a short dungeon with well-designed bosses, and I can foresee some of those bosses being quite fun on Mythic Plus difficulties. Now, the lore is a little bit more sparse than the Cathedral of Eternal Night, but we do see more Valeria delving into the void, essentially fighting fire with fire. Now, we know that Zera at one point was really angry with her for this, so it'll be interesting to see how that character develops over the course of the game. In recent times, we've had a lot of Khadgar and plenty of Velen, so having her and Turalyon come back to Azeroth would actually be quite a nice change of pace, and perhaps they could be characters in the next expansion who we quest with. But anyway, that is it. For this dungeon overall, pretty good looking. I like a little bit more, but hey, what can you do? So yeah, thank you very much for watching this video. Let me know what you think about the dungeon in the comments below, and I'll see you next time.